Hi, I'm Dr. Seth E, and today we are going to go through common errors with student manuscripts and research proposals. This is from 5 to 6 years of teaching undergraduate and graduate level research methods classes. And this first video, we're going to cover common APA corrections and then look for a couple follow-up videos on common writing corrections and research proposal specific and literature review specific items. So APA, this is based upon the 6th edition APA manual. When you first open up Microsoft Word, make sure that, or if you've already started the document, that it is double spaced. So if you do a shortcut Control A, that highlights the entire document. The only areas where you're not going to have double spacing typically would maybe be in tables, in figures. So you might not want to highlight that, but if you go to the paragraph tab, it can be a small button. Make sure it's double spaced and then opt out. Where here, make sure this says 0 and 0 for spacing before and after, but just do double spaced. So now here's another common errors are the headers and the headings within APA. So a level 1 heading is centered boldface and using uppercase for the major words, lowercase for the minor words like and. A level 2 heading, so this would be a subheading under a level 1 heading, and these would be, a lot of times would be subheadings, maybe in your introduction, would be flush all the way to the left, boldface, and again upper and lowercase. Upper for the important words, lowercase for the or the non-important words. All right. Level 3, so this is one level subheading underneath a level 2. It is indented. It is bold-faced. The first word is uppercase, but everything else is lowercase unless it's a proper word. Then you have a period at the end of that subheading, this level 3 subheading, then you start the text after a space. And then if you rarely you might get to a level 4, it's the same as level 3, but it is italicized. Look at the APA manual, go to the Purdue OWL website. I'll try to put that in the description, and make sure that you have your subheadings correct. In-text citations, so this is when you're discussing using a citation within the text. When you say Smith and Jones 2005, you use AND. When you are saying something that Smith and Jones, you want to cite them at the end of the sentence, you use the and sign, ampersand. Okay, so that's for a parenthetical citation. This is when you're wanting to list those authors' last names within the text. In-text citations, 3 to 5 authors. So the first time that you cite these authors and they this paper and it has 3 to 5 authors, during the if you're wanting to mention all their names, you use the and sign and you list all their names. It's the same thing, and sign if you're just wanting to cite maybe a statistic that they report and now you're going to cite them, it's the and sign. After the first time that you cite them, then it goes to et al. Notice there is a period after the all and there is no period after the et, so that is Latin for all others, but that's how it is for the rest of the paper. Obviously, you're going to list all those authors' names in the reference list at the end, but we're talking about in-text citations. In-text citation for 6 or more authors. Some of those exercise science journals out there, medical journals, have a lot of authors. Guess what? You only have to list the first author's last name and do et al. From the very beginning for in-text citations. And this is what it would look like for a parenthetical. Don't forget the comma before the year. A lot of times I will see students where they'll have the author's last name, space, and then the year. Notice the highlighted yellow. Make sure you have commas in between that last author's name and the year. Direct quotes. Try not to use direct quotes unless you really have to. Try to paraphrase. It's a sign of someone who is not putting in much effort into an introduction or a literature review if they have direct quote after direct quote after direct quote. Okay? So if you do have a direct quote, it would be, if it's less than 40 words, you're going to use quotation marks, and you always put the page number after the direct quote. Okay? Otherwise, if it's, you can style it this way where it's parenthetical and then you have the page number. You don't put PG period, it's P period, and then it goes like that. For websites don't have pages. So actually, if you're citing a website, and it better be a reputable website such as the CDC or some very reputable maybe New York Times. This stands for paragraph, so it's the fourth paragraph from the top. You count them. All right. Direct quotes that are greater than 40 words, you actually don't use quotation marks. You indent the entire quote, and then you put the page number at the end. All right. If it's across more than one page, that's where you put PP and then the page range. Spell out, oh yeah. So from the exercise science people out there, medical people, public health people out there, spell out maximum. Don't just use max. Same with repetition. You can use VO2 max is something that's common phrasing for that, but it's better to spell things out than to abbreviate. Be more formal as compared to informal. Don't include the initials in the body of the paper of the authors. I don't want to see the initials of the authors. Save that for the reference list. Okay, so here's the incorrect. Here's what it should look like correctly. Same thing with, I don't care who's a PhD, who's an MD, who's a DO, who has a EDD. Don't put what the degrees they have in the paper. Don't care. For some reason, in the reference list, sometimes what I will see is students will, this is the author's last name, their first initial. Notice where the periods are, the year. This is the title of the article. Notice how C is the only capitalized word. Everything else is lowercase. Momentum is the journal name. It's italicized. The volume is italicized. No spaces in between. This is the issue. So issue 2 is in parentheses, comma. And for some reason, I'll have somebody who does not put the entire page range. They only put the first page that the article starts on is 36. Well, you need to list 36 through 42 for that. So that's a pretty simplistic reference list for that. And this is something that I've already mentioned here. For et al, I get a lot of errors with et al. They're not sure where to put it. This is the correct way. Et, no period. Al, you only put the period after the al for that. And then you're going to have, yep, this is the parenthetical version, and this is the utilizing Walker as you're talking about that study in the middle of the sentence.